Hello, and welcome into whatever space and time you happen to be in. I'm here in the mid afternoon, San Juan Islands, Southern Lopez Island, in the yurt that I habitate inside of. My name is Alyssa. I use they, them pronouns, and this is a little offering, a little combination of some pranayama offerings and some hatha yoga, the yoga of action. So we will do some physical postures. We might use vinyasa as a tool, especially because we are focusing on breath, but it won't be sort of the thing that we think of as vinyasa yoga in the now times, where you're definitely doing specific salutations or breathing to flow. Often that's associated with like fast movement or even sometimes workout culture. And so this really won't be that. This is an opportunity to be sensitive, to practice sensitivity and feeling. That's the offering, that we're paying attention to our sensations. And often I feel like we talk about the physical sensations, we talk a little bit about the thoughts, but emotions can kind of be a place in between there. We're having hormonal and chemical changes and shifts. Emotions can affect our actual like chemical being. And generally, we're like these electric creatures, right? So when our temperature changes, when we take different actions, different effects happen within as well as without from a biological level, but also from our sense of self. So the offering here is to feel. I think often we're hoping for something good. There's this sort of black and white context to existence, that there's good and bad, and when things are difficult, which they may not be for you, but often this past year I've been sort of starting with that context that like things might be difficult, or it might be hard to be in this practice, or hard to really take action of any kind. It might be hard to turn away from other actions to take self care as part of your um, journey or part of your pattern of being. And so, having said that, do what you can with what you have. Come to the practice as you are, and do whatever you need to do to make it safe and kind for you, which might be ignoring something I have to say. It might be turning it off 10 minutes in to go pet your cat, do something else. It might be being very pragmatic about finding a way to mire through. In general, um, I hope to give you as much agency towards your own self sovereignty, towards your own self awakening, and um, that this practice belongs to you, right? Even though I'm sort of guiding or offering, that it belongs to those who practice it. I think this all the time. Are you practicing not only what you preach, but just are you practicing being what you'd like to be, being how you'd like to be? The question I often come to myself. So we'll start with a little bit of pranayama. You can do this in a chair, you can do it standing, you can do it in a seat. I'm sitting up on a cushion myself here, a little lift so that my thighs can come down below my hips. You might find that a lift for your knees feels good, or sitting cross-legged or with your feet folded under you. And take a moment to close your eyes and perhaps just to set up um, in a position that is sustainable for you. So you could start by feeling your sitting bones on the edge of your seat or on the ground. Notice how your pelvis is tilted and tucked. Feel for that plumb line of your head and your rib cage stacked over your pelvis. Do you tend to lean forward or back? Relax your shoulders and set your hands in relative neutral. And close your eyes. If you find closing the eyes doesn't bring you towards relaxation or sets off fight or flight, it's okay to keep your eyes open. Maybe you just close them a bit, at one spot on the ground or out long in front of you. We'll begin with conscious breathing. Conscious breathing is just awareness of the breath, awareness of your natural, unmanipulated breath. Really, it's a two-part function. We practice being relaxed while allowing our natural breath to flow and paying attention to something without feeling the need to control or maneuver with it. You might do this by paying attention to the physical sensation, the air moving into the tip of the nostrils and down the throat into the internal sensation of the lung, diaphragm dropping. You might notice the expansive quality of the breath drawing out in the ribs and filling the belly, dropping down to the floor of the pelvis. You might feel it the same way as it draws back up and out, a natural lifting of your diaphragm, pushing of the air out and up, a little moisture and more temperate than it was when it went in. You might also count the breath. Some folks will turn towards numbering or filling the belly and the ribs and then the chest, taking a dirga breathing point of view. As you begin to notice your breathing, you could also be verbal. In the eye of your mind, as you inhale, think inhale. And as you exhale, think exhale. Or now I am breathing in. Now I am breathing out. Or just in and out. See if you can do this practice, and at any point you notice that you become involved in manipulating the breath, perhaps reset again. If you notice your mind shifts, you begin to think or organize, storytell, you begin to head off in any other direction, come back to paying attention to your breath now. You might do this again and again. Remember that this is a process-oriented activity. The idea of returning again and again is the point, more so than succeeding. Continue to seek relaxation and ease in your body, creating just as much structure and organization as is required to keep you stable, which might mean upright if you're sitting on the floor. Seat should be stable and at ease. You're practicing a posture, an asana, often called sukhasana, sweet seat, or a seat with ease. And slowly, perhaps little by slowly, so gradually you barely can detect the increase in volume, begin to deepen your breath. Throughout all pranayama, we practice conscious breathing, this awareness of the sensations of the breath, continuing to soften, relax the body, to structure it, and to create ease. And as you start to breathe deeper, if you have a practice of ujjayi breathing or upward liberating, upward victorious breath, you might slowly begin it in this way, like turning the volume up at the beginning of the record, very gradually, breathing deeper and slower, longer and fuller. Ujjayi is classically in and out through the nose, but you could always breathe through your mouth in the same long, slow way. A bit of a sense of mere fogging or HA sounding without resonance, like it's often a familiar idea with this breath. Notice if as you start to enact manipulation over your breath, if you become controlling or forceful. See if you can continue to be in collaborative dialogue with the breath. Continue to breathe in this ujjayi form, in and out through your nose or mouth, until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. As you continue to breathe in the Ujjayi form, the breath might get louder. Mostly you might feel that sense of pressure, a force across an area of air pulling in and out, moving over your throat and your glottis and the base of your throat. And the energy system of yoga, this throat space, is also chakra oriented, a wheel of communication. And the throat chakra is not maybe where we create our feelings in that energetic system, but how we channel, express, and to a degree perceive them, how we listen to and for them. So you might consider just the reminder of the breath as you continue to breathe, to cultivate wisdom around feeling and to let yourself feel, to know that part of our work in this samsara and this cycle of life is to be with the feelings that are, not to identify ourselves with them, in fact to know them, feel them, ride them, understand them, right, to gain wisdom, perhaps to share that wisdom as compassion with each other. As you continue to breathe in the Ujjayi form, you continue to stay relaxed in your jaw and your shoulders, tall in your breastbone, tall through your spine. You might consider and listen for, feel for any attitudes or patterns around your Ujjayi breath, especially perhaps if you've been doing a physical yoga practice for a while and are used to breathing in that way. But really, any experience that you're having is worthy of your attention. Perhaps you like inhaling more than exhaling. Perhaps one feels easier than the other. Is one side of the breath longer or shorter? And as you begin to notice if there are catches or holds, spaces of great volume or expanse, you might also notice the kumbhaka, the places where you retain or hold the breath. This is natural apnea. The top of your inhale for half a moment, there's retention as the air pattern switches. At the bottom of your exhale, same. You don't need to do anything to these spaces besides just to notice that they are there, a place of float between action. You continue to breathe in the Ujjayi pattern until I ask you to change your step. Know that in turning towards how things are in your body and in your energy and in your feeling experience, you might awaken an awareness of how things really are that brings you towards sensations that are difficult. You may feel anxious, physically or otherwise. You may notice sadness or grief. You might also notice joy. There might be humor, lightness. Whatever you notice, continue to allow those things to be as they are. Continue to allow your sensitivity to these things to give you wisdom. Continue to remember that with each breath you create, with each breath you destroy, inhaling and exhaling this experience. Even things that last a long while are not forever. And as you continue to breathe in the Ujjayi form, we'll add one more layer, which is Sama Vritti. Sama means same or balanced, like the word same and Sama, you can see their relationship. And Vritti is fluctuation or wave, the same fluctuation of the breath. I've had teachers explain this as make your inhales sound like your exhales, and your exhales sound like your inhales. Balance them in length and quality. You might also try to balance your attitudes about them, feeling about them as though they were equal sides of the same coin. And the traditional advice is to bring the more submissive aspect up to the more dominant, which means if you're inhaling longer than you're exhaling, instead of shortening your inhale, work on lengthening your exhale. But I think you want to be kind in balancing both ends, right? And again, it's an attempt at sameness, an attempt at balance. You might consider a count of your breath. Are you inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3? And still using the breath control of Ujjayi Pranayama, of breathing slowly and smoothly, but without harshness, without tension. Continue this practice of breathing. Same fluctuating of your breath on each side. You might use this as a soothing practice, right? As our emotions often feel like things that are right or wrong, good or bad, you might start to balance attitudes in the same way that you balance the breath, balancing more lunar yin qualities with more solar yang qualities, knowing that they all have an aspect of function. As you continue to breathe in Sama Vritti form, balancing your breaths, you might use your next inhale to flutter your eyes open, your next exhale to tune into what's around you, and continue to breathe as we start to move. If you're sitting, you might place the soles of your feet on the ground in front of you and drop your knees from side to side, maybe inhaling for the length of one round and exhaling for the length of the next. And planting your feet, move yourself onto a space of movement. You can head to a mat, a broad open space, and come towards standing if you're not there already. You might close your eyes again and return to that awareness of breath. Inhales and exhales, rising and falling. Good. We'll take a little Kriya, a movement pattern, working into our shoulders and upper body first. Following your inhales, take your arms out to the sides. And then just on the exhales, dropping the hands right back down. So a little like flying, inhaling to take your arms out. And exhaling to let them drop. And we'll do this for a few more patterns, a few more rounds, 10 or 15 or so. As you do, you might imagine like you're moving through water, that surface tension pressing. And as you do, you might also imagine your fingertips reaching out away from your body the whole time, like you're trying to reach the edges of a wide room, wall to wall. Seek to keep your heart tall. Your front ribs proud and open. Move at as slow and long a pace as you can find. And after the next 2 or 3 rounds, with the action of movement, come to stillness and continue to breathe in a balanced breath, Sama Vritti, as you pay attention to standing in stillness, posture, mudra called Samasthiti. Feel fully. We're going to add a little bit of arm rotation action to the same business. You can stay standing. I'm coming down here so it comes into shot. The inhale will go out, but you'll turn your palms up at that point of shoulder height. And as you raise your arms up at about shoulder above height, you'll start to turn your thumbs forward so the backs of your hands come towards each other. Backs of the wrists touch. So you might bend your elbows to do that. We'll try it slowly a few times. Turn the palms forward and up on the way to that shoulder distance place before turning the thumbs forward. The palms come down, so we're rotating. All right, inhale. Palms up. Exhale. Palms down. Right, so longer breaths required. Maybe a more efficiently speeded movement. Continuing with your breath. You can work with eyes open or eyes closed. You're always welcome to sneak in an extra round of breath in the action. In your next few rounds, 2 or 3, resolve action towards stillness. Standing in neutral posture, Sama Vritti. Breathing Sama Vritti form of breath, which can be very heightened or can be softer. Balancing side to side. Now we'll stay in posture and breathe. Find your feet at hips distance. You're welcome to do it with feet together if you prefer. Utkatasana, the fierce pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips, a squat. Inhale your arms out or forward. Turn your palms up and bend your elbows so that you can drop your shoulder blades down into your back and lift your heart. I'm going to stay for 5 rounds of breath, but you can come to release to neutral and then come back at any time you'd like. We'll do a couple of sets of going from action to stillness. Don't be afraid to bend your knees enough that your hamstrings contract as your heels plug down so you can flare your tail out with less pressure in your lower spine. Breathing in the Sama Vritti form. After that 5th round of breath, straighten your legs, release your arms, and take 3 rounds of breath to feel how things are. And perhaps you feel the sensations of the body, the temperatures and textures around you, what you see and hear. Perhaps you notice what you think and emote. Use the Sama Vritti inhale to fill and exhale to return to Utkatasana, the fierce posture, a warrior pose. On the bottom of your 5th exhale, straighten your legs, return to neutral, release your arms. And take 3 breaths to notice how things are. If you find tension emerges, try counting your breaths down from 5 to 1 when you're in the pose in the eye of your mind. And remember, you always hold the power to change your circumstances. Take a big free inhale. Use your exhale to return to Utkatasana, fierce pose. And on your next exhale, release to neutral standing. Breathe slowly. Feel deeply. Now to do a little balance. Bring your weight into your right foot. And bend your left knee enough, you can lift your left foot off the ground and kind of swing at your knee. Breathe in the Sama Vritti form. 5 breaths. If you'd like additional feeling sensation, close your eyes. And exhale to put your left foot down. And take 3 rounds of Sama Vritti breathing in neutral. Shift your weight into your left foot and bend your right knee enough that your right foot can hang off the ground. Usually it's a little bit in front of you. You might hold it more behind you if that feels more balanced. Take 5 rounds of Sama Vritti breath. I suggest pressing down through your standing heel and up through your hard palate, through the roof of your mouth. You might work with eyes open or eyes closed. You can always work with one hand at a wall. And exhale to put both feet down and take 3 rounds of breath, balancing your inhales with your exhales. And now slow actions. Stand on your right foot and lift your left leg, breathing. Use your next few exhales to bend your right knee. And slowly as you can, step your left foot back, soft landing as possible. Spin towards your left foot. Turn your heels in and your toes out and bend your knees to squat, goddess pose or horse. You can always adjust your stance as you'd like. You can take your arms out or bend your elbows with palms forward. Puff out your chest and breathe. Inhale to straighten your legs and reach your arms up, maybe pressing the backs of the wrists together once more. And breathing. Exhale, bend your left knee and start to head down to low squatting. So you might bring hands to your left knee, hands to a block or the earth. Turn your right toes up and sink your hips low, Skandasana. This can be much higher. Your heel can be lifted off the ground. We'll be here for just one more round of breath. And plant your hands either on your knee or on the earth and start to step your right foot closer to your left foot until you can squat down into a low crouched position. And your heels might lift. Malasana is often what this is called, or Mandukasana. You can have your knees wide in this variation unless you prefer parallel. Reach your left fingertips down, perhaps left shoulder or arm inside your left knee, and reach your right arm up. Breathing in the Sama Vritti form. And exhale, release 2 hands down. Lift your hips up and walk your feet underneath your pelvis. Uttanasana, forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you like. And even use a chair or a table for your elbows or upper body if folding is a lot of flexion on your back. Grab for opposite elbows and dangle or take any arm variation of interest. Release your hands and slowly, breath by breath, roll your vertebrae, your spinal bones up on top of each other, stacking your head last in standing posture. You should be to the left-ish side of your mat or space. Inhale to take your arms up, maybe bring the backs of your wrists together. And exhale, begin to bend into your left knee. Step your right foot out. You might take your arms out into this T shape. Good. Turn your right toes towards the front of your space for warrior two. Bend into your right knee. Breathe. You might gaze out past your right thumb. You don't need to obsess about a 90-degree bend. If your knee is knocking way in, you might change the angle of your back foot. Make more space to rotate your right thigh bone up and out. Uddhita Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. You might bring your elbow to your knee or your arm inside or outside of your leg. Opposite left arm up or over. Sama Vritti. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Take your right arm out and up, and if you'd like, you might straighten your right leg and make it a reverse triangle, stretching through the front of that right hip. Breathe into your right side body. Inhale by inhale, pick yourself up. And on your exhale, it might help to bring the hands to the hips as you bend your right knee. A little bit of a complicated action. Spin your left heel up so you turn your pelvis forward. And then you might have to shorten your step a little, hop forward. Put some weight into your right heel, and as slow as you can, lean forward in your torso. Breath by breath, pick your left foot up off the ground. And very slowly, replace it next to your right foot and come to tall standing. Your next inhale, take your arms up overhead, turning to face you so you can see that you can stay facing as you are. Exhale, side bend to the right. You're welcome to any form of half moon that you like. Feet together, hips distance. You can choose to hold the hands or not. You might turn your heart a little to the left, turn your hips a little to the right. Untwist them from their natural proclivity. Inhale, to come back through center. And exhale to relax and release your arms down. Now bring your body weight into your left foot and changing orientation so I can be visible front facing to the screen. And lift your right foot up. Remembering to feel fully and seeking a sense of relaxed spaciousness even as you take action. Exhale by exhale, begin to bend into your left knee. You might tilt your torso forward as a counter lever or weight. And as you reach your right foot back, try to find as soft a landing as possible. When it lands, spin your heel down, turn to the side, turn both sets of toes out and bend your knees, goddess shape. And this time, you might take the arms overhead on an inhale, bring the backs of your wrists together. If arms overhead creates anxiety, then feel free to instead maybe bring the hands behind you and interweave the fingers at the tail, or take another option of your own making. Relaxed toes, heavy heels to breathe. Inhale, press into your heels, straighten your legs, perhaps again taking the arms up. Exhale, begin to bend into your right knee. You might take your hands to your knee and slowly, perhaps towards the earth, turn your left toes up and squat down. Side squatting can be real awkward. We won't be here for very long. Remember, depth is less important than attention and stability. And press into your hands, lift up enough that you can drag your left heel in and come to low squatting. Breathing Sama Vritti, slow and smooth throughout. Take your right arm out and down, perhaps with your shoulder arm inside your right knee, and inhale your left arm up. You can let the head hang or let the neck follow the trajectory of the spine, gazing upward. And exhale, release, straightening your legs, lift your hips and walk your feet in underneath your hip sockets to hang in forward folding Uttanasana of your choice. And try to let your neck be loose. And slowly, breath by breath, dragging your head and your fingertips. Round yourself up. And once you're stacked and standing, inhale to take your arms up. Maybe bring the backs of the wrists together. And exhale, take a big step out, maybe putting the weight in your right foot so that you can really step your left foot out stealth style. And straightening your legs, spin your left toes out to the front of your space and find warrior two. Settle down. Breathing, feeling fully. Try to be economical and efficient. Don't do any work you don't need to do. Udhita Parsvakonasana, side angle. Bring your left elbow to your knee, your hand towards the earth, inside or outside of your leg, right arm up or over, breathing. Inhale up to warrior two. And find reverse warrior or triangle. I like to straighten my front leg in this action. Use an exhale to return to a lunge, to bend your front knee. You might bring your hands to your hips and very slowly, with stability in your left foot, spin your right heel up to turn your pelvis front facing. You might need to shorten your step a little. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend your left knee and lean forward. Start to take weight into your left foot, and slowly as you can, return your right foot to meet your left. Inhale to take your arms up. On your exhale, begin to side body bend to the left. Another form of Ardha Chandra, half of the moon. Maybe it's descriptive. You are half moon and half sun, half lunar, half solar. Inhale back up through center, and exhale to release your arms. Take a moment to be still, perhaps to close your eyes and to breathe, to notice how things are. Inhale to take your arms out and up, maybe bringing the backs of the wrists together. And exhale, bend your knees and take your arms behind you. Turn your palms up, thumbs pointing out. And slowly crouch down. You'll hit a point where your heels might have to lift, and then you might seek the support of an object nearby. If you can come into a little ball shape, whether heels come down or stay lifted, feel free to wrap around and breathe into your back and side ribs. And exhale to step your left foot back into a long, low lunge. I'm going to turn around so I can be with you. Drop your left knee down to the earth. You can keep your back toes curled if you like, or drop the top of the foot down. Climb up onto your right knee thigh. Press into the thigh. You can interweave your fingers and push the thigh away as you draw your body and heart up and back. You're welcome to add back bending or side body bending here if you wish, supported or unsupported. I like to take a lift by interweaving my fingers at the base of my skull, elbows broad, just pulling upward on the back of my neck. And exhale to release. 2 hands inside your right foot. Turn a little this way, but you might walk your right foot out to the right for Pristasana or lizard, and stay on your hands or come to your forearms if that feels reasonable. Relax your neck and hang your head. Slowly walk your hands in to pick yourself up. Curl your back toes under and parallel your feet as you walk yourself through center into wide-legged forward folding. Feel free to bend your knees as you breathe in the Sama Vritti form. Like a halfway lift, unroll your heart on an inhale. Exhale over to your left foot and drop your left knee down in lunging. You might keep your back toes curled or flatten the top of your foot and climb up. Interweave your fingers in your left knee and press the thigh away. If you worked into specific options on the other side, you might repeat them or balance them in the way that seems suitable to you. Side bending or backward bending. If that interwoven neck extender felt good, you might do that again. Exhaling to release down on the inside of your left foot, perhaps toe heeling the left foot out or turning the toes out for lizard or dragon. Stay on the hands or come to the forearms. And slowly press into your hands to rise. Curl your right toes under and lift your right knee and walk yourself through to that wide-legged forward fold, inhaling. Exhaling to fold down. You might keep your knees quite bent here. You're welcome to any and all arm variations that you like. Inhaling like a halfway lift, exhaling to walk your way over to your right foot and spin your left heel up. Inhale to gaze forward, lift your heart up. Exhale, straightening both legs, round your spine, dome in. Take a few more of those. You can follow your breath or just move through them while you breathe. And the next time you look forward, inhale and exhale with one or many steps to bring your right foot up, left foot up to meet the right foot, and squat or crouch down. And take yourself up to Utkatasana. Lift your hips to parallel to the earth or higher. And take your arms out long, palms in front of you. Take an inhale. Exhale, slowly sweep your arms back, thumbs out. And exhale by exhale, let's start to sit down again, crouching low. And take your right foot back. I'm going to switch around so I can be with you. And drop your right knee down to the earth. You can also work with back knee padded or lifted. Climb up onto your top leg. Inhale, take your arms out. And on the exhale, you can wrap your right elbow underneath your left elbow, eagle arms. You can grab for your shoulders or your top thumb or interweave your fingers. Drive your elbows up and perhaps gaze up. Back bending to the degree that you wish. If you like, you can also take this forward. Try to hook your arms over your left knee and breathe. Or perhaps twisting to the left, trying to hook your right elbow over your left knee. Unwind your arms and release your right hand down and take your left arm up, twisting. You can twist wide or you can twist narrow, trying to bring that right armpit or shoulder outside of your knee. And if you do that, you might press your palms in prayer or interweave your fingers. Wrap your hands behind you if you like. Exhale to release. Curl your right toes under and lift your right knee up. Walk your way through center, that wide-legged fold. Inhale like a halfway lift in the middle. Exhale to fold down. And just a round of breath or two. Inhaling to lift up the heart once more and exhaling to walk around towards your right foot. Drop your back knee down and climb up. And once you're up there, inhale your arms out, and this time you might take the left elbow underneath the right, whichever side you didn't do last time. Drive your elbows up as you sink your pelvis forward and down. You might stay here or lean forward, hooking your arms over your knee and hanging your head. And taking it one step further, unwrapping your left elbow or armpit to the outside right side of your right knee. Inhale to lift up enough Sama Vritti form to release your arms. Left hand down, inhale, right arm up, twisting to the right. You can keep your hips closed or you can rotate everything up and open. You're welcome to hook your armpit, do a bound form, pressing the palms or wrapping the hands behind the back. Sama Vritti, fluctuate in the same way. Create a situation in which balance is at least reasonably sustainable. Good. Releasing hands down to the inside of your foot. Curl your left toes, lift your left knee and walk back through center. If you have an inversion practice, you might hit pause and take some time to come up into forearm stand or headstand from a straddle press and try to breathe 5 to 10 rounds. If that's not a safe practice for you, then don't do that. Stick with me. Take an inhale. Exhale, come over towards your left foot. Good. Inhale like cow lunge. Drop your back hip. Lift your heart up. Exhale, straightening your left leg to some degree, round in. Take a few rounds of this, inhaling. Again, you can just move while you breathe. You don't have to coordinate the breath to the movement. The next time you inhale to look forward, prepare with one or many steps. Exhale to bring your right foot up to meet your left foot and crouch down. Crouch down so far that you sit down. And the soles of your feet together and your knees wide, Baddha Konasana. You might take an inhale to extend the length of your spine and then exhale to fold if it's appropriate for you. Breathing. As we move towards the floor, an opportunity again to balance your breath. And if you folded forward, draw yourself up. Bring the soles of your feet to the earth in front of you and your hands behind. Inhale to lift your hips up to some degree, a reverse tabletop. You can keep your chin tucked if you wish or hang your head back. Keep your feet where they are. Inhale, start to lift your head up. And exhale, straightening your legs. Swing your hips back through your hands and set your pelvis down. Let's take that little action back and forth a couple of times. Dig into your heels, bend your knees. Inhale, slowly lift your hips up. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, start to lift your head and your heart up. And exhale, press with your heels to send your hips back and lower them down. Inhale. Stay at least for the exhale. Inhale to lift the gaze. This time, exhale to let your hips land. You could reach for your feet or reach for the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, fold over your legs. Paschimottanasana. Paschimottanasana is our west stretch, folding towards the east of ourselves. Inhale to slowly roll yourself up to a seat. And exhale to keep on rolling all the way on down to your back. I'll suggest resting on the back for this practice. You might take constructive rest, bringing the soles of your feet to the ground and letting your knees knock in. You could take your legs long, lay on your side or your belly. You take your arms out or up if you're laying on your back. If you wish, take your arms down by your sides, especially if there's tingling in your shoulders with your arms up there. And for these first few moments of settling into rest, once you get your accoutrement all together, you might decide or discern your breath again. You may still be breathing in an exaggerated way in and out through your nose. And if this is true, you can start to let the ujjayi part of your Sama Vritti die down. Closer. There you go. And breathe just in a way that feels more organic and soft, maybe letting the sound die down. And then you might still notice how the inhale and the exhale can be balanced with one another, can have the same fluctuation. And after 5 or 10 rounds of that, you can let even that go. Just pay attention to your natural organic breath. And breathe in this way for a few minutes. If you know you'd like to rest in this organic breath for much longer than a few minutes, feel free to turn off the screen now or hit pause. And join us whenever again. That's one of the gifts. Otherwise, I'll call you up and out when it's time to change shapes and move on. Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavai, tejasvi navaditamastu, mavet vashavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you're lying in rest or sitting in meditation and wish to remain as such, do. The time has come to return. Slowly return to your body by bringing your awareness to your heart beating in your chest and your blood moving in your veins. Perhaps breathing on purpose again, a little bit more energy, just gently enough to bring yourself back to waking awareness. Slowly in your own timeline, wiggle your fingers and toes. Start to add movement into your body as you see fit in any way. You might stretch out and up like rising from a nap. And slowly on that timeline over the next 5 or 10, 15 or 20 breaths, you might gather your knees into your chest and roll onto your favorite side. The right side being more active and responsive, more solar. The right side being more lunar and receptive. Take the time to practice gratitude for the given circumstances that allow you to practice yoga, mindfulness, awareness in this lifetime. Considering the ancestry that came before yours and those of the land you occupy. I'm here on unceded Straight Salish land, Lumi and Samish land, excuse me. You might be on any native land. You should research it if you're not sure. You might just consider also all the practitioners of these sorts of healing and wellness modalities, of these enlightenment practices, magical practices that came before and left us the wisdom of their experiences in books, in writings, in teachers who are with us and who are not. You might consider the given circumstances of your privilege or your oppression, giving yourself kudos for being aware as you come to practice of what you have and what you give. Consider always gratitude for yourself, your decision to practice, to come as you are, to be as you are, to notice how things really are through the wisdom of feeling and balance. And when you're ready, if you haven't done so already, press yourself towards a tall seat and we'll seal in together. That chant is a classical closing chant in the lineage of Krishnamacharya, the teacher who taught many of the teachers who teach yoga in the world today. Comes from Gokulam in Mysore in the south of India. My teacher's teacher's teacher. And that chant is about learning together. It means may we together be protected. May we together know peace and joy. May our work together for the enlightenment of all be brilliant. May we not fight, hate, or dispute amongst each other, and make our work lead to seek us towards universal and cosmic peace. I want to thank you for joining me in this practice of pranayama and hatha yoga, taking the time for yourself. I want to thank you for your grace and forgiveness for me and my humanity and my dogs and my mistakes and all of the things that are true about those things, and that you allow those to be true. I appreciate it. And this practice and all of the videos on this YouTube channel are meant for you. So while you might donate to Alyssa Backben's Venmo to practice School of Magic, you might give yourself a little bit of space to look in the details here. There's always information about how to donate. Half of the proceeds for this intake right now, for this business, for this class, and for any of the classes you might use and continue to donate for, half of the donations go to the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. Marsha P. Johnson is one of my sort of personal heroes, a teacher I never got to meet. If you're interested, always feel free to reach out. If you have questions, let me know. That particular organization does work to empower and support Black, queer, and trans folks in our nation. If you have any questions about the practice, any feedback to give me, you need to reach out to me, please feel free to. I'm here for you. Again, my name is Alyssa, and I use they, them pronouns. I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you, and wish you as much joy and peace as is possible in these times, and until we might meet again. Thank you.